Welcome to the training module on in-kennel enrichment. This video will cover why and how to use the kennel protocols. The kennel protocols are simply a set of guidelines for interacting with the shelter dogs. Think how confusing it could get if every single person had a totally different set of rules and way of acting around the dog. Because the dogs have many different handlers, having everyone follow the same basic guidelines makes things much more consistent and easy to understand for the dogs. The same simple concept is the connecting idea behind all of these protocols: rewarding calm behavior and going at the dog's pace. Since all the protocols are designed to encourage calm behavior, when everyone follows them, the dogs start behaving more calmly. This can actually help them feel calmer, which results in less stress. We strive to provide the best possible care for our animals, but any shelter environment is inherently stressful for dogs, and that stress can lead to health and behavior problems and potentially prevent or delay a dog from getting adopted. So, the kennel protocols are meant to help our dogs feel more relaxed and less stressed while they're here, so that not only do they feel better, but they're also easier and more pleasant to be around, healthier, and get adopted quicker. As an added bonus, the skills the dogs learn from the kennel protocols helps them to adjust more easily to home life once they do get adopted. One of the first protocols you will use is called Snacks to Relax, which, as the name implies, encourages the dogs to relax in their kennels. A very common problem in shelters is that whenever a person walks into the dog kennel area, the dogs start barking to try to get that person's attention or just because they hear the other dogs barking. This can get incredibly loud, which makes the kennels so uncomfortable that people want to leave them as soon as possible, resulting in less time with the dogs. What's more, the dogs themselves have even more sensitive hearing than humans, and they can't leave. So the constant noise every single time someone walks in makes it hard for them to get any rest. A quieter kennel is a much less stressful home environment for the dogs. So the idea behind Snacks to Relax is simply to reward the dogs for quiet each time you walk into the kennel area, so that they get into the habit of waiting patiently for their treat when people enter, rather than having to make noise to be noticed. Walk up to each kennel and reward immediately any dog who is not barking or jumping up at their kennel door by sliding a treat under their door, tossing one over their door, or opening their top door to drop in a treat. If the dog is barking or jumping when you walk up, just wait a few seconds to see if you can get a rewardable moment when they pause and are waiting quietly, even if just for an instant. That way, they'll start to understand that they don't need to waste their energy and that good things will come if they just relax and wait. If after a few seconds they have not settled down, just move on to the next dog. They can get another chance momentarily when you walk back the other way, and will soon get the hang of the game. Rewarding the dogs for quiet can dramatically reduce the noise levels in our kennels, making them a safer and more pleasant place for people to visit and the dogs to live. The entering protocol builds on the same concept as Snacks to Relax and applies it to going in the dog's kennel with them. Again, that concept is reward calm behavior and go with the dog's pace. Practically speaking, this simply means to break down the process of entering the dog's kennel into steps and then only proceed to the next step when the dog shows you they are ready by demonstrating more calm behaviors. For example, pause in front of the kennel with the door closed, just like you would for Snacks to Relax. If the dog is waiting relatively quietly in their kennel, then go ahead and open the top door and toss in some treats. If they are jumping or barking or showing lots of signs of stress or overexcitement, then they're showing that they're already overwhelmed, so it doesn't make sense to add even more stimulation until they've had a moment to collect themselves. If the dog is excited to see you, that's fine. Just wait until they have all four paws on the floor before moving forward. Once you've opened the top door, if that causes the dog to jump or otherwise get overwhelmed again, just wait again, giving them a moment to calm down before proceeding. A handy trick is to throw some treats on the ground for them as soon as you open the top door, so that instead of jumping up, they're busy eating the snacks, which often gives you a chance to then open the bottom door and get into the kennel with them. Finally, once you've walked in, that's usually another exciting step for the dogs. So wait, if need be, for them to settle one more time before you start petting them, putting the leash on, or whatever else you came in their kennel to do. Use this method every time you're going into the dog's kennel, whether you're taking them out or staying in with them. When everybody does this, the dogs learn that they don't need to launch themselves at their door or bark to get your attention, and that they can invite you over just by sitting or standing calmly. It also lets them know that you will respect their boundaries and not push past what they're comfortable with until they're ready. These things are a big relief for shelter dogs who are dealing with lots of change and don't have much control over their lives. This method of going at their pace helps them to trust people and feel more safe while they're in the shelter. It's also very efficient because when you take your time to let the dog calm down at each step, they quickly get the hang of it over a few sessions and soon become a breeze to go in with or take out. Once they can keep calm for a minute or so, that gives you plenty of time to open both doors, go in, and then either leash up or start your in-kennel activity. Quiet time with people is something that happens naturally in a home environment, but that shelter dogs often miss out on. It's not uncommon for all of a dog's interactions with people in a shelter to be exciting. Getting food, going out, going for a walk. All of those are important for the dogs too, but they can start to associate humans with always going somewhere or doing something, which makes it hard for them to calm down around people. Not only can the resulting overexcitement around people result in behaviors like jumping or mouthing, but also this can cause the transition to home life to be confusing and frustrating for the dog, as most adopters will want their dogs to just relax around the house most of the time. So, making sure our dogs get quiet time with people is not only enjoyable and stress-reducing for them while they wait for their forever home, but it helps prepare them for it as well. It's great to give the dogs this one-on-one attention in their kennels, as doing so should give them a positive association with their kennel. Instead of thinking of everything fun is happening outside the kennel, when fun and pleasant things happen in their kennel, like having a human visitor spend time with them, the dogs feel happier about being in their kennels overall. Sitting quietly with the dog, talking to them, or petting them in their kennels all help them to see their kennel more as a cozy apartment and less as a lonely or boring place. So not only are they happier during your visit, but the results last. Jumping. Dogs jump up on people due to overexcitement or as a way to greet them and ask for attention, and often a mixture of both. Therefore, the best way to teach dogs not to jump up on people is to show them that there are better ways to ask for your attention and to help them calm down. Because talking to or touching the dog or having a big reaction is both even more exciting and giving the dog attention, saying no, moving a lot, or pushing the dog off all usually make this behavior worse. People tend to keep doing those things, though, even though they don't get the dog to stop jumping, because they don't know of a better alternative. Similarly, a dog may keep jumping for attention, even if it isn't working, if they don't know a better way to ask for it. That's why the most effective thing to do is to reward the dog for a behavior or behaviors you prefer they do by showering them with attention, play, treats, or anything else they like when they do those, and being as boring as possible when they jump on you. If every time the dog jumps on you, you ignore them, but as soon as they sit, or if they walk up to you and stand quietly, you immediately give them attention and praise, they will start choosing to sit or stand instead of jump because it works so much better. The key is to pick any behavior that the dog can't do at the same time as jumping and consistently reward it while ignoring the jump. Standing, sitting, laying down, or touching your hand with their nose are all good alternative behaviors to encourage. In the first module, you learned how to recognize fearful body language in dogs. Here are some tips for how to make any dog feel more safe and comfortable around you that are especially important to use when you notice a dog showing signs of fear or shyness. Avoiding direct eye contact is one easy way to communicate to dogs that you are not a threat. You should also avoid leaning over the dog, as this can be intimidating and would be considered rude in dog body language. It's a great idea to give treats to help a dog realize that you want to be their friend, but it's often too overwhelming for a frightened dog to take the treat directly from your hand, so try placing the treats on the ground first. Approaching or facing a dog from your side rather than head-on is another way to help them feel more secure. You want to be like the person in the pictures on the right-hand side rather than the first two images. Another reason not to lean over the dog and to keep to the side is that you always want to leave an escape route open and not make the dog feel trapped. This is much safer for you because if you move into a dog's space and they feel uncomfortable, they can choose to move away. If you've blocked their path or ability to move away, they may feel that they need to make you move away and have to resort to aggression instead. Here is one more illustration that shows a common way that people greet dogs compared with the more appropriate one. Another option for a fun in-kennel activity that teaches our dogs practical skills is to play some manners games. Some good starter tricks include attention, sit, touch, leave it, handling exercises, and down. You should have received the Manners Games protocol document with this module, which describes how to do each of these exercises, and staff will show you how to teach and practice each of these tricks during your in-person in-kennel training. So here is just a brief overview of each trick and why we've chosen them. Attention is the foundation of many other skills, including coming when called and walking well on a leash. Once a dog can focus on you, they are ready to learn new things, so it makes sense to teach that focus first. To practice attention, simply reward the dog for looking towards your face. You can guide them towards the right behavior by calling them to get their attention, or you can wait for them to look at you on their own and then reward as soon as they do. Sit is a popular classic because it is simple for almost any dog to learn and useful as a calm, rewardable behavior. A dog can't jump up on you and sit at the same time, so teaching them a strong sit is a great way to redirect unwanted behaviors. Keep in mind that some dogs may have an injury or a particular body shape that makes sitting uncomfortable for them. So if you know of a relevant injury or they seem very hesitant to sit and don't do so often on their own, you may want to skip this one. Feel free to ask staff if you think you notice discomfort, as they may have more information about a particular dog. Touch is a trick that any dog can do, and it can also be used to prevent jumping. The idea is for the dog to touch their nose to the person's hand on cue. This can be a good game to encourage shy or nervous dogs to move towards people and have a positive association with hands. It is also incredibly useful as dogs get good at it because it gives you a tool to guide the dog's movement. You can get them on and off of things like furniture, teach them how to get in the car, and more with touch. Leave it is a really useful impulse control skill that can teach a dog how to leave something alone and not put their mouth on it. You can see how this could be used in many ways, from a dog that's overly grabby with treats or mouthy to hands, to one who likes to steal snacks off the counter. We always start with the beginner's version, but there are many ways to level up this skill and apply it to different situations. Handling exercises are training games that increase a dog's comfort and cooperation with being handled and touched. This is useful for everything from vet care and grooming to putting on a leash or being petted by strangers. The basic idea is to pair gentle touch with a reward like a treat so that the dog develops positive associations with being touched and handled. This is useful for every dog to learn, but especially helpful for dogs who are easily overstimulated by touch or who are anxious about being handled. Much like sit, down is a relaxed body position, so it can help a dog to relax their mind as well, to lay and stay down. And it is also a good alternative behavior to jumping, as they cannot lay down and jump on you at the same time. However, because it is a more vulnerable and relaxed body position, dogs may struggle to lay down if they are excited or anxious, so try all the other manners games first and work on down only after establishing some trust and a bit more of a relationship with the dog. Anytime the dog lays down on their own, you can reward them so that they start to offer downs more often. As they get more comfortable with you and more advanced, eventually you can add a cue to ask for this behavior more regularly. Next steps. After watching this presentation, simply fill out the quiz to let us know you have completed the online portion of the module. The quiz will cover the in-kennel protocols as described both in this video and in their individual documents, so make sure you read the written documents as well if you haven't already. Once the quiz is submitted, you will be able to sign up for an in-person in-kennel session where staff can answer any questions you have and show you these exercises in person with actual dogs. At the end of that session, you will be fully ready to start doing in-kennel enrichment on your own. The next module covers out-of-kennel enrichment, which builds upon what you've already learned and takes it beyond the kennel. Most of the exercises and games you have just learned how to do in kennel are also great to play and practice out of the kennel as well, such as when out on walks, in the play yards, or in home space. The next module is shorter because you now have already learned most of the skills you will need to succeed. Great job! Thank you so much for taking the time to complete this training module so that you can be part of the team enriching our dogs. In-kennel enrichment is one of the very best ways to make life easier and more enjoyable for our shelter dogs, as well as staff, other volunteers, and adopters. You are making a huge difference, and we couldn't do it without you.